notification up there.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jesse Stein. I'm the Development and Communications Associate at FLAP, the Farm Worker and Landscaper Advocacy Project. Joining me today is Ms. Sheridan Threadgill, the Community Engagement Coordinator from United Way of Kishwaukee County. Good morning, Sheridan. How are you doing today?
Good morning, Jesse. I'm doing good. I'm glad to sit down and talk with you today.
I know. I think it's important that all these organizations that are working together, we kind of have these conversations to kind of, if nothing else, help each other kind of figure out exactly what it is we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Wonderful. So today we're just going to talk about community outreach during the COVID-19 pandemic and kind of how it's affected the missions of both of our organizations and kind of what we've learned. So first off, I'd love to ask you about the mission of United Way of Kishwaukee County and what inspired you to get involved with them.
So our mission here at Kishwaukee United Way is really simple. It's just to improve lives by sharing community resources. Through collaboration, resource mobilization, and voluntary giving, Kishwaukee United Way will work to provide a better quality of life for the communities that we serve. I think what really motivated me to apply for Kishwaukee United Way is really wanting to be involved in the community. I've lived in DeKalb for almost 10 years now, and I really just wanted to play a part in making the community better, and that's exactly what we do here. So.
And do you feel that your time on that board has been fulfilling work for you, working in this community that you've spent so much time in?
Absolutely. We have 21 nonprofit partners throughout DeKalb County. So really being able to connect with those organizations that play a key role in making a difference has definitely been fulfilling.
Amazing. So this is kind of the big question I think that everybody has to ask and think about is how has the pandemic affected the mission of your organization and kind of what have you learned throughout this process?
Well, I think the pandemic really made us realize how important our mission is, even though it's simple. I think when people had to miss work and stay home due to the strains of the pandemic, they really needed to know how to access resources and connect with those things that could help them. So programs like 211 and the COVID relief grants that we were able to provide really, I think, made a difference. I think the biggest thing that I learned, which probably sounds cliche, is that you just have to be adaptable. It might not be perfect, the first time that you do it, but as long as you're working towards meeting the needs of the community, you can't go wrong. You just have to be willing to switch up the plan and go for it. So,
can I ask you, what was what was the first big shift that happened when the pandemic started? What was the biggest change that y'all knew you had to make? And how did you make it?
So for us, since we're not a direct service agency, I think the biggest change for us came with our fundraiser. A huge part of what we do is providing funding to our partner agencies. So I think the biggest change was realizing that we still had to raise money. Raising money is important for our partners, and making that shift from an in-person fundraiser to a virtual event and still trying to make it a success so that we could fund our partners was probably the biggest switch up that we had to go through.
Yeah, I think for us, FLAP was originally, it was mostly a legal advocacy organization, and much of the work that we were doing was we were trying to bring lawsuits against employers that were exploiting their employees. And I think for us, we made this big transition to start doing direct cash assistance, and just the process of setting up that kind of network of reporting and finding all these people to give money to, it was a really big and really exciting change, because you make this switch from slower aid, which is still very important, which is legal aid, to just direct, here's $500, pay your utilities. And for me, that's it's very important and great work. And the community needs that, I think.
And
I think
kudos to you guys for being able to do that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Being able to make that switch and realizing, like this is a need, this is what we need to do. Let's do it. So
absolutely.
kudos to you guys.
So the next question is, why are foundations like yours so important to the community specifically?
So Kishwaukee United Way is a part of the larger United Way worldwide organization, which is one of the most recognized brands in the world. So I think that we're important to the community because we invest in initiatives that really just want to improve the quality of life for people. We focus on health, education, and financial stability. So all of those things can help create healthy and strong lives. And I think that's what makes us important to the community. We also have 21 nonprofit partners like FLAP that we're able to help fund and support.
And we were very thankful for the support, for sure. And how can someone apply for funding through your organization?
So first, someone has to become one of our partner agencies. So FLAP is one of our newer partners that went through the application process, and our board had a play in that. But that's the first step, becoming a partner agency of ours, and then one is able to apply for funding.
Amazing. Okay, so next question. What is the most important aspect of community outreach, in your opinion?
I think the most important aspect of community outreach is really just knowing the needs of your community and knowing how your organization can meet those needs. You just gave a great example of that. Just realizing that was something that needed to be done and realizing how you guys could meet that need. I think it's just really important to know what's needed. Because if you don't know what's needed, you don't really know how you fit into that.
So I guess a good follow-up question would be like, how do you figure out what is needed? And like, whose voices should you be listening to, and kind of like what should you be paying attention to?
Right. Yeah. Everybody. I know we try to meet with our partners once a quarter just to kind of hear what's going on with them, hear what they need. But we also participate in other community meetings and networks, kind of like ones that focus on youth and children, and then we kind of get involved in the mental health boards and committees. So I think just being out as many tables as you can to kind of get a real understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
And being willing to collaborate, not just listen, but being willing to lend a hand where you can. We can't always be a part of everything, but if there's something that your organization can do, be willing to do it.
So. That's what it's all about. I really think that like radical support is kind of like a huge thing, and at least for me and our organization personally, is just whatever you can do to like hear what the community needs and figure out how you as an organization can just, if it takes reorienting yourself to kind of give them what they need, then go for it.
Right. I agree. I absolutely agree.
And so if for anyone that's interested in getting into community outreach, do you have any tips for them?
I think just being teachable and willing to learn, because you can learn a lot through experiences, and you can learn a lot from people who've been doing the work for a long time. I'm fairly new to my position. I'm coming up on a year. Okay. Thank you. This was something that was new for me. So just being willing to learn from people who already done it, and also valuing your connections with people, I think is important, because you never know when you're going to need to follow up. Sorry, that was the mailman.
Personal man. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think that especially now, it can seem kind of intimidating to want to like jump into this field.
Yeah.
And it can feel like I want to help, but I'm kind of feeling like paralyzed by like the wave of need.
Yep.
So I think what you're saying, like kind of like try to make it smaller and just like look at what's happening around you in a smaller scale and see like, what can I do in these little smaller moments, and maybe that can lead to something bigger that will affect more change.
That's what I was gonna say. Those small things add up. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, last question. What is your dream project if you could, help fund anything? What would it be?
So this is a good question. I think I would like to see us fund programs that really focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Earlier this year, we had an opportunity to participate in an equity challenge that was done by the United Way of Illinois, and I think a lot of great ideas and initiatives were born out of that. And a lot of conversations started to happen that weren't necessarily happening before. So I would love to kind of fund programs like that here in DeKalb that would really make a difference.
Sounds amazing. That sounds, yeah, I totally agree.
What about you? What is your dream project?
Oh my goodness. My dream project. Let me think. I would love to, well, I think like a lot of what FLAP is doing now, I think is like if I could like dream up a nonprofit organization, it would be what we're doing, where it's just like, here's money. Like, hello, like, do you have an electric bill that you need to pay?
Right.
Have some money for it. I think that's like what makes FLAP really unique, is that it's very like on the streets. We have community outreach, staff just going out all over Illinois and just searching for workers, finding them in person, talking to them about their rights and giving them checks. And I think my dream project would be to expand that, and kind of like take what we're building right now and really like grow the infrastructure of it so that we can very confidently and successfully kind of spread out, and maybe start to affect policy as well. At some point, that would be really nice. There's a lot of exploitation going on for farm workers. There always has been, but I would love to see some work done on that for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I really just commend you guys, like you said, of being in the community, like boots on the ground. We're here to support you and help you. I really think that's awesome, because I think that especially in this field, there's always like a lot of red tape when people are applying for help and they need assistance, and it could really be a hurdle for people. So I just want to commend you guys on that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, Ms. Threadgill. I just wanted to thank you so much for meeting with us. We really appreciate the partnership and the support. It means a lot.
For sure. I look forward to connecting and working with you in the future, Jesse.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.